Good afternoon, everybody. Saucy James here. It's actually morning time, but we got a video to talk about Dell Precisions, specifically these 17-inch models. Before we begin, I have a website called dankpants.com. It's the video sponsor, so no one's sponsoring it. But also, there's links in the description of that and the spreadsheet that I use to track all my prices. This is going to be a reflection of what you can buy one of these machines if you buy it on eBay and live in the United States. And yeah, I did these prices in June 2023, and it's July, going to be August soon. And I've been meaning to make this video a long time ago, but I just haven't done it and all that good stuff. I'm going to only focus on the 17-inch machines. However, I will put like screenshots of like the 15-inch machine to go alongside it. There's actually a few 15-inch machines, but I'm going to just show like the main one they could go up against. We'll have a video for that one at another time. And yeah, so where should I begin? Dell Precisions. They're big machines. They've always been bigger machines. They're bigger than Apple, of course, but also ThinkPad, IBM and Lenovo ThinkPads, and also I believe I think they're bigger than HP ZBooks and EliteBooks or whatever, the workstation ones. So they're pretty big, but they're also very durable. Well, at least they have in the past. The one I'm using now, the 7730, its bottom battery holder isn't holding on well, and I've already replaced it before, so I'm not going to replace it again. But yeah, these 17-inch machines for the Precisions, they're the beefiest that you could get. They have often better graphics cards than the 15-inch versions, but the screens aren't always better. In some cases, the 15-inch model has a better contrast ratio. So in turn, say if you're all about the colors and it looking great, and you want like a picture perfect screen, the 17-inch one isn't always the best one, although you could get pretty good. The 15-inch one will often have a better option screen, or I guess now that it's a 16-inch display, it'll be better. However, there was a 17-inch unit that came out in 2020 that was actually a better screen. It had better screens than the standard 17-inch, the high-end one, but that was because of the form factor of the display and other things. So getting a little bit out of this, but yeah. But if you want a big laptop, which I do, I've always had a like big desktop or desktop replacement machine. The Precisions are the way to go. They're a lot more cheaper than Lenovo P series, and I don't know anything about what HP is doing. I knew they had a ZBook, but you have like the Firefly, and you have these other machines that I have. I'm just too intimidated to look up what machine is what, because their product line and range keeps on changing, and it's too confusing. So if you're looking for a 17-inch machine, there's basically, I guess, like 3 or 4 different types of machines. The first ones were made the first Precision was made in 2001, but for the 17-inch machine, it was 2006. So you have it starts with an M. So you have the M90 and the M6300 or 6000 series. So if you see an M on it, it's an old machine, because the 6000 series went up to about 2013 with the M6800, and that was the final machine. And so if you see an M series, they're pretty big. You'll have at least a socketed CPU, so you could upgrade the processor to whatever generation it used. So, say if you go like second gen processor, you can't upgrade to a third gen processor, at least right now, as far as we know. And then in 2015, Dell changed their name lineup, and so they started using like different classes. So the first number, 7000, that was like the highest end machine. So you would have and then the second number represented the screen size. So 7710 was the first machine that they made, and that meant highest class 17-inch display with the second 7. Likewise, the 15-inch machine, it was the 7510, and so that was, top end machine, 15-inch display. We had other ones. We have the 3510. 35 was like the entry level machine. It actually used a Dell Latitude. So I think the Dell Latitude 5570. It was called E series back then, but not no more. And the middle class machine, which is it actually was based off the Dell XPS machines. That was called the 5510. So 7,000 is the highest, 5,000 is next best, 3,000 is entry level. I believe there's a 9,000 series, but only for the XPS line currently. I do not know if they're going to make one for the Dell Precision. They might after I upload this video, but we'll go from there. So 2015, you have the 7710. And they pretty much went up with the numbers. So 7710, 7720, 30, 40, up to 7780. So spec-wise, if you had a 7710, it was a 6th gen machine, and then the 7720 was 7th gen, and so on. So that's kind of like the way how you could figure machines out. And we did have a kind of like a cheaper, not cheaper. Well, yeah, it was cheaper. I wouldn't call it entry level, still high end. But in 2020, alongside the 7750, Dell introduced the 5750, which was based off a Dell XPS. I guess there was a 17-inch XPS line, the 9700, and so it's basically a Dell XPS with Quadro graphics. And probably maybe a better warranty because of the precision. Yeah, so take it as you will. That's it was a cheaper machine, and then they kind of dropped it after 2022. 2023, you have the 17-inch, and now you have a 16-inch machine, which dropped the 15-inch machine. But you can get a 15-inch machine, but it's going to be based off the Dell Latitude now. So it's kind of lame that they got rid of it, but that's just the numbers of the different model numbers. I guess next we could talk about graphics. Now, the Dell Precision is probably one of the best machines if you want to get, well, it used to be, if you want to upgrade your graphics card. It had a lot of compatibility with gaming laptops, specifically the Alienware, because it was Dell and Alienware are the same thing. And some people were able to upgrade their Precision graphics card from an Alienware with GeForce graphics and Quadro. So that meant it was better gaming wise. But Dell's always used graphics cards for the most part. In the beginning, they had kind of like a proprietary format. Every manufacturer had a proprietary format. And then when we had the MXM card kind of standard, Dell didn't use it until 2011 with the M6600 or M4600 if you're going with the 15-inch machine. That had the MXM GPUs, and so you were able to kind of have a standard upgrade with. But when I say upgrade, you also have to look at what kind of heat sinks you have, because all the cards, the way for the video cards, they're all set up kind of differently. So they'll have like their the shape will be different. I don't know what if they're resistors or power inductors or whatever those pieces are, but they'll always be in different spots. So you have to probably use like different use like heat shims to make it fit. There's probably a lot of forums out there talking about upgrading, so you can go ahead and use that. But I'm just letting you know, in case you want to, it is there. But it's more for the advanced people, at least. However, if you stick with the same machine, you could have probably, like the same class, you could probably just upgrade and not have to worry about your graphics card, unless you went from AMD to NVIDIA. Anyways, I'm getting a little side tangent right there. But the MXM GPUs, it stayed with Dell from the M6600 up to the which was 2011, up to 2017 with the 7720. That is the last machine that had an MXM graphics card. And afterwards, Dell introduced this thing called the DGFF, Dell Graphics Form Factor. And it was like a kind of proprietary shape, but it had like these little connectors that would connect the graphics card to the laptop, and that's what you had to use for the graphics cards. It's better than having a soldered graphics cards. For a long time, Lenovo did that with the W series, with the exception of the W700 and the 701, I guess. They had soldered in graphics cards. HP, I believe they had MXM graphics cards on their EliteBooks, the 17-inch and 15-inch workstations. But yeah, Lenovo didn't. So Dell was the one to go for, at least how I saw it, if I wanted an ultimate machine. But in 2018, they changed it up. They brought the DGFF form factor, and unfortunately, they would always change the shape, or they seem to change the shape within 2 generations. So the 7730 and the 7740, I believe you can upgrade the cards from them. I saw a forum post on the 7520, I'm sorry, the 7530, where they upgrade to a card from 7540. But I do not believe that the 15-inch model can use a 17-inch graphics card. Likewise, I'm not sure if the 17-inch model can use a 15-inch graphics card. But I'm just letting you know, you're kind of able to upgrade, okay? But going back to it, the format changed from in 2020 on the 7750. It used a different shape of the card, where you had the DGFF connector right across from it. It would be the I/O. But now, if you look at the 7740's graphics card, no, I'm sorry, 7750's graphics card, the I/O is now adjacent to the right or the left of the graphics card out, or video out. And then so you had the 7750 and the 7760 that had that, right? Come in 2022, Dell changes it again, and now it's more of like a pentagonal shape. And it's on the 7720 and the 7780. Yeah. And to top it off, I'm not sure what they're going to do until 2024. However, in 2022, they got rid of their 15-inch 7000 series, and it's now a 16-inch machine. And they have 2 different chassis for that 16-inch machine. Who knows if they'll do the same thing with a 17-inch machine? You do not know. At least on eBay, the sellers aren't specifically saying if it's the thin chassis or the performance variant. So who knows what's going to happen when you buy the 17-inch machine, but parts hunting is going to be a little bit more harder now. At least, you have to look at, it's like buying parts for like a 4-door car or a 2-door coupe. It might use, they're going to use different doors, of course, but, other parts inside there might be different. I guess I'll just get into the price guide part. I really don't have any recommendations on what you want to use the machine for. For the most part, I just look at the prices, and it's like Kelley Blue Book. I just put them down. I can't benchmark everything, and I don't, I don't know what you're also going to want to use a computer for, and so people want to know like every little thing, and I'm sorry, it's just impossible for me to do. So I basically just look at prices, put them down, and go from there. If you use my spreadsheet, I have a guide, or no, I'm sorry, a sheet, I guess, I don't know, that has like the specs on it. So I put down like what kind of processor it has and what kind of graphics card you could get, and also the displays that you could have. And it's all random. When people sell on eBay, they don't necessarily put all that information, especially when you're buying from like eBay sellers or what's that, ITAD, Information Technology Asset Deposition. I'm not sure what the D stands for, even though I did that for a while. The more time they spend on speccing out the machine, the higher it gets. If they power it in, remove the hard drive, sell it as is, they're gonna, it's less work means we're just going to auction it off and whatever sells for whatever it sells for. So it just depends if you're buying a machine from an auction or buy it now. Point is, my price guide is there to guide you how much you should spend on it. And I guess before I begin the format for my price guide, I have like 4 prices: low, medium, high, and EX Plus. EX Plus is for like someone that wants like a warranty. They want probably like a high spec machine, some sort of guarantee. It could be sold from authorized refurbishers, and when it comes to the more newer machines, it's actually sold from like the manufacturer, like Dell or Lenovo, or Apple doesn't have an eBay store. But yeah, we're talking like someone that wants a warranty of some sort. That's what you should pay. And if we get on the really old machines, it's just a collector's price. Not necessarily saying it's worth that. You're gonna get any guarantees, but maybe they fix it up. Maybe they put games on it. There's a reason why it's so high, or even past high. The other 3 prices, low, mid, and high, those are my recommendations. So say like out of 100 listings, low price would be about like the 30th listing. Mid price would be about 55, 60, maybe 65, and high price would be about like 80 to 90 of the listings. I just try to look at what they normally go for. So like say if there's like a lot of machines that sell for like $400 and the next machine is like $700, but it's right on the cusp of being like the mid price, I'm probably going to put $400. And if I see that's actually like that, at the auction, or the current available units that are buy it now, and they're charging $400 instead of $700, that's going to be my mid price. Low price is like the same, but one thing that I do is that I try to disqualify machines that are broken. So if I see like laptops that are not working, I'm not going to count it out of like my out of 100. So say for instance, say if there was 50 machines that were just blown up, burned, cracked screen, damaged, doesn't turn on, can only be used for parts, salvaged, and they all go for like $50. I'm not going to put $50 for that laptop when the first working one is like $200. I might put, from there I'm going to look at from the 50 that are working and down and say, okay, they go for $250. That's what I try to do on my price guide. I don't want to, oh yeah, all the machines that are low price, they're not working. With that said, not all the machines are going to come with a hard drive. Some get them removed, and in some cases, some get the charger not included. So it just depends. You just have to look for it because, and also people sell these machines sometimes for like say there's a machine fully loaded, best specs, everything. They just happen to want to sell it really quickly. They put it buy it now, and it sells for the low price. However, there's also cases where people just that same machine spec-wise, but is missing a charger, it's missing a battery. It probably doesn't look the best. It could go up to the high price because people are just bidding on it and just really want it. It just depends on the luck of the draw. So that's like my disclaimer before I begin. Yeah. I also write down some notes. There's another number that I put on there in my price guide. I put sold listings. So I just see like how many of these machines were sold. Usually like 200 units is really good because that means a lot of people it's a popular machine, and you could get probably a pretty good deal. But when the number goes down to below like 10 or 20, or even below that, then it's whatever people are asking for, and it could be a lot of money. We normally see that as the machines get older. That doesn't mean that they're rare. It just doesn't go on eBay. Oh my gosh, I forgot the most important part. I should have said in the beginning of the video. But these laptops, they lose pretty good value each year. Okay. Now, the first time I did this price guide was in 2022, in February. And the second time I did it was in June 2023. So I actually compared the prices of some of these machines, and I usually don't do the newest machine because it's kind of like redundant. what they sell for on eBay, you could configure that machine at Dell's website, and it might be cheaper. But some people don't know that, and plus, when you sell on eBay, you could probably ship it somewhere where Dell won't ship it to. So there's that as well. And so they charge extra for it. They're going to want to make money getting these machines. But the 7760, which came out in 2021, it was the most latest laptop I did prices for. I guess the 7770 came out as well 2022 when I did the guide for the first time. But in 2023, I did the prices for it, and on average, unless I goof up the way how I do prices all the time, which is not the case, on average, it only retained about 55% of the value. The previous model, 7750, on average, about 50%. On the 7740, it retains 75% of the value. I don't know why. But then my machine, the 7730, 52%, 49%. And then on the 7710, we got, it held 61%. When we get to the machines with socketed CPUs, the M6800, the price, it held more value, or held value better at 70% versus the 60. So, yeah, just letting you know, I guess, when you buy them used, you save a pretty good amount of money than, say, if you're buying new. Now, you get the guarantees of a warranty when you buy new, or at least somewhat of one. You could always upgrade it. So there's that. And you won't have the latest tech, so that's another issue as well. But just for instance, the 7760, the lowest price I saw one was for about like $1,000, $1,050. The 7770 came out 2022, which is 1 year old now. That was $1,400. And then the 7780, actually none of these sold, but the cheapest configured one was about $2,300. So right off the bat, you're saving like $1,300. You're saving like, you could have bought a 7770, well, almost, but you could basically buy a 7760 and a 7770. You have two laptops, or you can have one 7780. Yeah, so just letting you know, the value of these machines, I guess, they go down quite a bit. What would that number be? Like $500, I guess, or $600. It just depends on the configuration. Well, no, not really, because the 7780, I saw one configured for $5,500, and the highest 7770. Well, my recommendation was about $2,200 or about $3,400 if it was EX Plus. So, yeah, you could save, if you wait a year, you could save $2,000 on your machine. Wait up a second. I like Formula One, and I guess we have is it the Belgian Grand Prix? Wherever Eau Rouge is at? Or no, that's the turn. There's a sprint shootout in like about 30 minutes. So if I talk really fast, it's because I seen it, or if the video gets, or my face looks different, the lighting is because I watched it after the race. But Dell is actually McLaren's sponsor, and right now there's a chance that one of their drivers might win the race. And Red Bull has been dominating F1 this year, I think last year too. But I don't know if he will be able to beat Max Verstappen in the sprint shootout or in the race. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I want what's his name, Oscar Piastri to win, because you always see a British person on the podium, and it'd be cool to see an Aussie. We might get a what's that called when you drink from a shoey? I don't know if he'll do it, but it'd be cool if he does. So, I don't even think he's old enough to drink. So, anyways, let's just go with the really old machines. We have in 2006, the 17-inch machine was actually based off an Inspiron, the M90 and the M6300. I want to say they look the same. Yeah, I think they do look the same. It's a big clunky device. I've came across one before, like a silver machine, and they have like a little sticker on the lid. But the M90 was basically an a Dell Inspiron E, I think 1705, or was that a or the 9400, which might be the XPS. I'm not too sure. But let me just I need to click something for the specs so that way I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so these used dual core processors. The M90 used a socket M, the M6300 used a socket P, and the M6400 used a socket P as well. But we're not going to talk about those right now. Yeah, so I think they both use DDR2 RAM, so that's where they're you know compatible with. And I believe they both had, I don't know if they had four RAM slots, but I think they only had two RAM slots at this time, because no machines really had four RAM slots. That wasn't really a thing. Well, way back in the past, in the 90s probably, but 2006 and 2007 or 8, I guess they did not. So yeah, you can either get here's a list of the CPUs. Basically, I think the 2.33 is the fastest you could get a T7600 on the M90, and the other machine you could got a I think a T9500 or X9000 or a T9300. Those are actually pretty fast CPUs on the M series that you want to get if you want to get them. Likewise, say if you want to go with a Lenovo, you'd probably go with the ThinkPad T60P, but there was no 17-inch machine until they came out with the W700 and the W700DS. But that's like a generation newer, or a year newer, so I'm not going to include those yet. Yeah, so the max RAM you could do is either 3.5 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes if you go with the 6300, either 533 or 667 megahertz. I believe they only had one SATA port, and they had a proprietary GPU. They both use like the same slot type, so you could probably upgrade, but they were NVIDIA Quadros, and I think yeah, 256 megabytes and 512 megabytes is like what was the dedicated RAM, the dedicated RAM for those machines. Yeah, and you either had a WXGA Plus or a WXGA display, so 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is whatever. And they use about either, I think they use like 130 watt power supply. Prices for these machines now, you could get either of these machines starting at $60, or you could probably go to about $160 and then for the collector's editions, or the ones with all the most stuff on it, you could probably spend about like 190, or about a wait 240. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me read the notes that I put down. Yeah, I saw fixer uppers on the M90 and on the M6300. You're probably not going to get machines that have a charger or a hard drive. So they're parts machines. They're going to cost more money for you to upgrade as well. But like SATA SSD, you could probably get like a 256 gigabyte for like $20. That charger, you could probably get like $35 depending where you're looking at it. And on the DDR, the memory, I forgot how much you should spend on that, but I wouldn't spend more than $40, and I'll probably just max it at. Well, I would only spend $20 and max it at 4 gigs. I think they were like $60 for 8 gigabytes, but that's only on one system that you can do. If you want 8 gigs, save your money. Wait for DDR3 because it's a lot cheaper because it's a lot more plentiful, and it's also I think DDR3L RAM is compatible with regular DDR3, so there's plenty of that RAM, so that's the one to get. Next up, we have the M6400 and the M6500. I'll just include both of those. This is the first version where they're basically their own chassis, so they don't share the chassis, and I think they might share some parts with the 15-inch M series, but for the most part, motherboard, chassis, and all that stuff is by itself. I actually do have a few M6400s. It's a cool machine. I actually I like it more than the Lenovo ThinkPad W700 or W700DS. That is a collector's machine, not gonna lie. But you were able to upgrade the graphics cards. I think they had faster graphics cards, and they also had that. This is when they introduced the edition, Covette edition, which was like this orange lid, orange color to the machine, and it looks pretty cool. By the way, I believe the Covette edition only went up to the M67 6700, so 64, 65, 66, 67. Can't confirm if it was on the M6800, which is the last of the M series, and before they went to the different format. But oh whoops, yeah. So these machines, the M6400 seems to be a lot more expensive, starting at 90, going up to about 165 or $225, while the M6500 starts at $75 and goes up to like 210. No, 155 or 210 for the collectors. I saw three system Covette editions at the high price. Some have hard drives and some don't. 6 of the systems sold with i5s. What's going on? All right, whatever. But yeah, so most of the machines that you get on the M40 6400, they just boot to BIOS and that's all you get. So I'm assuming no hard drives on them, and yeah, there's some crazy prices out there. Like I put down, a German seller has one for $400 and it has a T9400, which isn't the best CPU. But you can get a freaking Core 2 Quad instead. Yeah. And then these machines, yeah, Core 2 Quad or Core 2 Extreme. And it was either dual core or quad core. The problem is that you might get, if you get a machine with a dual core, you're only going to get 2 RAM sockets. But if you get a machine with a quad core, you'll get 4 RAM slots. So there's a small chance that someone upgraded the dual core to a quad core, and yeah, so you will not be able to get the max RAM out of that in those systems. And I believe on the M6400 you had 1 GB of dedicated RAM as a max, but on the M6500 you're able to get 2 gigs of RAM max on the Quadro 5000M, which I believe came out like way later than the original Quadro FX 3700, 3800. Well, 3800, because the 3700 was on the other machine. And oh yeah, screen wise, I believe you can still get WXGA Plus and WXGA, but yeah, I'm not now on the WXGA displays. Some of them were advertised as Dell Ultra Sharp, and I came across one that the screens are nice, but when I did a color correction with the spider or something, every time I scrolled, there was like a red tinge to it, like a shadow or something. It was really weird. So I don't know. But other than that, say if I was only doing photo editing and not video editing, then the screen looks amazing from the M6400 that I had. And then on the power supplies, they kind of go up. Originally it was 130, but now they were asking 210 and 240 watts. And it pretty much is, I think it's pretty much 240 watts for the most part on a lot of these machines. Yeah. So, you could, I'm not sure. Also, like that charger, you can spend like a lot of money on those chargers sometimes. So you just have to watch it. I think I spent like $40 on my 240 watt charger because I wanted one specifically with the right Dell part number to match my 7730. And now we go to 16:9 displays. So you're not going to see no black bars when you watch a movie, okay? Um, the M6700 and M6800, they are the last ones that have a socketed CPU. So third gen and fourth gen. Oh no, I missed the 6600. Yeah, M6600 is second gen. 6700 is third gen. 6800 is fourth gen. So what is that? Minus four, and that's what generation processor you have, or something. I don't know. I don't know where it's going with that. But yeah. So low prices for these machines. Um, the 6600 starts at 95, goes up to about 250 or 320 if you want to be wild. The 6700, with the boost of the Ivy Bridge and battery graphics or battery life, I would say it probably is worth it. But it starts off at $134 and goes up to about 270 or 400 if you want to go crazy. And the M6800, which is the last one you get a socketed CPU, it has a pretty decent higher price at this beginning, starting at 180 and going up to about 340 or $500. And so that's probably like someone's fun passion project. I do have to note though that the other two machines, one sold, the 6600 sold about 90, 6700 sold about 66, but the M6800 is pretty popular. It's at 224 systems sold, and I think that is the highest number for 17-inch machines. Yeah. The next one will be the 7710, which is at 220, and the 7720 is at 187. So the more sold, the more cheaper you could get them, or probably get like a better system for your money. And yeah, you probably get like 16 gigs of RAM. I think that's the max you could get on these machines for the most part. I don't know if you could do 32 gigs. Oh no, you could do 32. Yeah, you could either do, if you only have 2 RAM slots, 16 gigs. 4, then you could do 32 gigabytes of DDR RAM, which is amazing. I think the the 6700 and 6800 use DDR3L, but it really isn't that much of a difference. You could get 3 hard drives in these machines, two regular SATA 2.5-inch drives, and then also one mSATA slot. These all have MXM GPUs, and let's see. I think the max graphics you get on the 6600 is 4 gigs. Same with the 6700, but on the, did I say 6700? But on the last machine, the M6800, you could get 8 gigs of RAM. Now, with that said, somebody upgraded, I think, the M6800, or it might have been a 7720. They upgraded to a 16 gigabyte, what is it, Quadro, I think P5100 or P5000. So, just saying, if you want to do that, you can. The only thing is that you're going to be limited with your CPU on, it's going to be your bottleneck, and also your SSD, or the SATA hard drive. NVMe actually does better, and it's crazy. I actually got better frame rates on my T460p, or was it 470? I actually got better frame rates on that machine when I upgraded to the NVMe 3.0 X2 versus SATA 3's speeds on League of Legends. It was really weird that the refresh rate went up, or the frame rate went up. So yeah, but those are all the old machines. So I mean, you could probably use one of these machines still for like photo editing. Video editing, it's gonna take a while. It just depends on like if you're doing 30 FPS or 60. So that's just on you. And if you're doing 4K, I don't recommend it. So say if you want to record video on your phone and it does 4K and you want to edit it on your computer, you're probably better off just editing on your phone, to be honest. Long time ago, somebody wanted an iMac. They saw it for $100. They asked if they could render 4K video. It was a Core 2 Duo iMac. I said it is not. You're asking. You need to buy a new at home. You need to buy a new Mac because you're not gonna be happy if you bought this machine. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the 7000 series, but first, I need a little sip, and I think I gotta change the batteries on these computers. You know what? I think I'll be able to knock this out in 10 minutes. Plus, the race might be, the shootout might be delayed again. The qualification was. So, the 7710 and 7720, they use pretty much the same parts. I own the 7730, and I said that the build quality kind of sucks. It's because I actually had a 7520, and the bottom frame was a lot different, and it just felt so much sturdier than the 7730 that I had. I don't know if it's just because it's the 15-inch machine versus the 17-inch machine, but the 17-inch was not it. So I'm assuming, and also another thing is that the function row on my 7730 is just goofy, versus the 7520 had brightness where it should be on the F function row, not holding function pressing up or down on your laptop. That's not how. Just yeah. That's what Dell did, and they seem to learn their mistake and change it up. I think in the 7750. All right, so the 710 and 20. All these machines here, they have NVMe drives. You could still get a 2.5-inch hard drive if you want, but you're gonna need some sort of converter that fits into the NVMe drive or something. Or no, actually had a little piece or something. I don't know. But yeah, so you had, I believe, three were the max on these. Three drives are the max on these machines. And yeah, on both of the 7710 and 20, you had three. On the 7730 and 40, you had four. And I'm not sure on the 7750. I think it might be three, but you get also four again on the 760 through 780. So if you need NVMe, you need SSD space, then that's the max you can do. Max RAM on these machines is 64 gigs on both. From the 7730 and onwards, you could do 128 gigabytes. And I forgot to mention, on Dell, on the 7770 and 7780, they introduced this thing called CAM. So they got rid of their RAM, the regular RAM slots you could get. And that CAM module, you could only do, like, if you don't want that CAM module, you could do like the regular hard drive, and it's just a piece, okay? But instead of it being 4 slots, they dropped it down to 2. So the max you get is like 64 gigs on that machine, okay? And then on top of that, if you wanted to get, well, if you had regular RAM, until they make a 64 gigabyte module. But if you went on the CAM route, you could do 128 gigabytes, but it's going to cost like way too much money for you to do the CAM module, to the point to where the 7760 is the machine to get if you want 128 gigs of RAM. It's really strange. I do have to mention, though, I'm not sure when Dell introduced it, but on the 7730, you can get integrated graphics on this machine instead of dedicated, which is insane to me. That is crazy. Why would you get a big workstation, 17-inch or 15-inch, and want integrated graphics and not dedicated? Yeah. And they actually put a dummy card for the Intel graphics, if you would have got that. So, that's just a word of warning. Now, to look at, I forgot to mention this earlier in the video, but to look at specs of these machines, you could look at the Dell's Express Service Code, and from there you'll be able to see, if once you put it in, you could just look. There's gonna be like a bunch of weird stuff, but you can see part numbers. But eventually you'll come across something that says NVIDIA, and you'll see what kind of freaking graphics card you had, or maybe AMD. Likewise, you can see what kind of CPU it has, because it will say something to Intel, and then it will say like what gigahertz it is, and you should be pretty much okay. I'm being watched right now by my roommate. He's wondering who I'm talking to in the camera.
Oh, you're on camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um. So, anyways, I guess we'll talk about all 8 machines, 7710 through the 80. Oh, and I forgot to mention on the on these machines, the 77. Oh my gosh! How the heck did I write this? The 10 and 20 versions, they can only do quad core, but on a 7730 you could get a 6 core or quad core. On a 7740 you could do quad, 6 or 8 core machines. Same up to 7750. In the 7760, 6 core became the default, or you could do 8 cores on that machine. I have no idea what happens, but Intel decided to do some different kind of thing with their processors, and they had performance cores and efficiency cores, and we started getting like, I don't know how many cores this is, 16 core machines, 12 core machines. Yeah, but the most important thing is that you either had 4 performance cores or 8 performance cores on the 7770, or 6 or 8 on the 7780. And yeah, I don't know what software can it utilize the efficiency cores, but some people say that when they minimized the tab on a certain program, the efficiency cores took over, so it actually took a lot more for them to do. I forgot what it was. I think rendering with Adobe or something. So yeah, that's that's the rundown on the cores. It's pretty weird stuff. But let's talk about money and how much you're gonna spend on these machines. Let's go with 7710. They start off at $215, and at the high they go up to 350. If you're crazy, $500. Um, on the 7720, they start at 240, go up to about 450, or $600 if you want to go crazy. Uh, what's wild is that the price dropped about 50% on these machines on the 7720. So yeah, just saying what if you want to wait for. And then on the 7730, they start at 350. They go up to about 650, or unless you're crazy, $900. When I did the price guide last year, I spent about, I want to say, $900 on my machine, and it was damaged, but it came with the 8 GB Quadro card. So I've seen that you could get the 16 GB Quadro card for about $700 with the machine, depending on the specifications. Yeah. So, but I don't want this machine again. I want to go to something different. Maybe get the 16-inch Dell Precision, but we'll get there when we get there. And on the 7740, it starts off about $500. It goes up to about 1,275, or if you want to go crazy, it costs the same price as the Revolutionary War. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. But $1,777, $776. Okay, it just went up in price. I don't know. It just keeps on going up. Same with the 7750. It's starting off at 800. You could go up to like 1340 or 1600 if you're kind of crazy, which I thought was kind of weird because it kind of dropped in price versus the 7740, but there was about 50 sold versus 97. If you want to get the 16x10 version and you want to go the cheaper 5000 series, the 5750 was introduced. Okay, and that thing costs. It starts at 850, goes up to 1240, and if you want to be wild, $1,700. But only 13 of these systems sold, so it's not really a machine that I guess like e-waste people are getting. And the difference is that actually no, it has about the same process you could get as the as the regular version. So if you want to go with 11th gen CPU, the 7760, it starts off at 1050, goes up to about 1700, or if you're wild, $3,000, which is insane to me. I would not spend that much. But I put down that a lot of the systems were like open box and new systems. So yeah, or fairly used, barely used, I should say. So yeah, if you want like the newish experience, not that much wear, 7760 is where it's at. 2021, 2 years of usage, I guess. And plus, these machines probably were on a dock of some sort. So yeah. And if you want to get the the what the heck, the 5000 series version, that starts off at $1,000, so about the same, goes up to about 1600, but at least it's under 2000 if you want to go crazy with this thing. And finally, the 7770, that machine starts off at 1400, goes up to 2200 or 3400 if you're wild. Yeah, they're mostly just brand new machines. So that's the thing. And if you want to get the 5007, the 5770, then we're talking 1100, 1600, and 1900. The race is starting. Okay, so the race is delayed by like 30 minutes, and I will have enough time to do the ending. I believe I ended at the 5770. That is the last machine that you could get in the 5000 series for a 17-inch machine, at least at this point of recording. It's also 16 by 10, so it's going to have a better screen than the 16 by 9 7770. Oh my god. But if you want to get a brand new machine, which is a 7780 in 2023, expect to pay $2,300 up to $550. Now, I think that was the highest I was able to do it configured. I have a $4,000 unit, and I think that's like just like one that's not customized. With that said, though, if you were to buy brand new from Dell, just get whatever CAM module you could get that's the highest. But this is the problem. The CAM module, the 128 gigabyte one costs $2,500 to get it from Dell. Okay, but if you were to get a system, and that's DDR5, if you want to go slower, DDR4 RAM, and you have to get an older machine, the four modules, you to get the 32 gigabyte modules, four of them equals 128 gigabytes. You could get them on eBay starting about $240 up to about $500 is my recommendation. Say if you want to get a 32 gigabyte CAM module, DDR5, then it's going to be $630. But say if you want to get a machine, you got a machine that the max it could do is 64 gigs, only has 2 RAM slots. Oh my goodness, my throat. You can probably spend about $200 to $360 to get those 32 gigabyte RAM modules. Or you can spend twice the price for DDR5 CAM, which is insane. So, like, on a budget, these machines with the CAM systems, I would love to get one that just has the regular RAM slots, because that's like way too much money for that module. And it doesn't make sense why it's so much. Probably it doesn't. I think all manufacturers are going to have to start using this CAM technology. Otherwise, it's just going to be cheaper to get memory, regular memory sticks, RAM modules, than it would be getting this CAM thing. Because if no one's going to go on board, then only Dell's going to be able to just sell them, and they can only be used on Dell systems. But then they're going to do the backwards compatibility with the CAM module with the slots. So you just get that instead. It'll be cheaper. It's wild what they wanted to do. But yeah, I guess that's all the 17-inch machines. I'll just throw in the 16-inch machines since they came out. There's only Actually, no, never mind. Well, the 7670 is the only one that was sold on eBay. Well, there's one 7680, but $1,400 is the beginning price, and it goes up to 1990. And versus the so it's still cheaper than the 17-inch version. And if you want to go wild, 2650. Only one 7680 sold, and it was for $4,050. So it was basically a brand new machine. But and then I couldn't find anything on the 5680. I know they're making one, but that's all the 17-inch machines. My machine over here, 7730. Right now, it does not want to change its brightness. I don't know if that's because I just got a bad machine or it's just dumb, but there's been a problem. It was broken. I bought it broken. I had to replace the frame, reseat the DGFF connectors, all that good stuff, and it was able to work. And it does video editing okay. I'm switching to DaVinci Pro, so I actually don't know how long it's gonna take to do like photo editing or video editing with it, because I used to use Magic Vegas, and that took like freaking forever. It took like when I did that Sony video, it took about like an hour of recording, and like for me to use the two clips on the cameras and the microphone, we're talking, I think it took like an hour and 15 minutes, and it made this massive 22 gigabyte file versus I downloaded a movie and it was like 2 gigs. So I'm doing something wrong. So I'm switching to DaVinci Pro, and maybe I'll talk about the rendering times when I do that. I have like another video where I'm going to upgrade my intake on my car, but this is like a new series that I'm doing. I have the price guides. This is not scripted, other than me reading what I put down in my spreadsheet, and on my page, it's going to be completely different on how I talk about it. I was actually wanting to do all the machines in one recording, but I couldn't. So the next video will probably be the 15-inch machines. Maybe I'll talk about both the different classes, but I'm not too sure. So my fans are ramping up on this machine. Oh yeah, I forgot the benchmark I did on Call of Duty. It said like 50 FPS, which is about right whenever I play. So I think the lowest it got maybe was 30, but I was able to play the game pretty good. I didn't like lose, or that's not why I lost. Okay, I'll tell you that. Skill wise, I'm not that good. League of Legends is better. I have a 1080p display on there. I don't have a 4K display, but with that said, I do have a 4K display on my ThinkPad P50, which has a 4 gigabyte graphics card, and that has the i7 6820. 6820 HQ or something like that, and which is like the second best CPU you could get. When I tried playing League of Legends in 4K, I was getting like garbage freaking frame rates. The game was not playable. It was like it was freezing. That's how bad it was, or I was like lagging. So if you want to play 4K on this machine, you probably need a 16 gigabyte card, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And and not play online, because those drop frame rates are not going to be fun. But I think that's going to be about the end of the video. I'm going to go watch it. I hope, I want Red Bull to win. I want Sergio to win, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if they lose, I want Piastri to get it, who's running for McLaren and is sponsored by one of the team sponsors, Dell. So see you guys at for the next video. Bye bye.